Hi guys, it's Dr. George here for Tucked In Tuesdays. I'll wait for you a little bit because I know there's a delay. I'm putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. There we go. And so I'll wait for you all to come in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Tucked In Tuesdays. If you're here, you can put something in the comments. I know some of you watch it later. So tonight I'll be reading Elephants Learn All About Their Habitats, Behavior, Size, and More. Well, the elephants won't be learning, we will. By Seymour Simon. Hi, Riley. So Riley put PM. So that's my great nephew. Hi, Riley. I'll put your comments. He said, hi. Hi, Riley. And my sister Anastasia is watching. So thank you. So Riley, I'm going to give you a quiz about the elephants in just a little bit. So you got to pay attention, okay? I always say 7:32 p.m. He didn't type PM. All righty. So let me pick me a color. When I think of elephants, I think green. When I think of elephants, I think of green. All righty. So I have another comment here. He said, okay, he's ready for the quiz. So thank you all that are joining, that are coming in. So Darnella, why would you do this to me on live? I taught her in like the 3rd grade. I love you too, Darnella. So I have elephants, and let me flip this camera real quick. Normally do that before, but there I go. So the book is not backwards. So elephants. So the last time, I love those hearts. Last time I did y'all hold on one second. I have this air on 76 and it is not going to be good if I stay like that. Okay. So last time I did this book, it was about the stomach and I showed you guys my feeding tube and things like that. Well, this one, I don't have an elephant, but I do have a unicorn onesie on today. So elephants, so Seymour Simon does a lot of these books, right? And remember, you have to have permission to read books online. Permission was granted by HarperCollins Publishing Company. So here we go. So the African elephant at a waterhole in Chloe National Park in Botswana. Look how large he is. Those are trees. So I recently learned on TikTok, not advocating for kids to be on TikTok, but I recently learned that African elephants are larger than trees. They're not like the elephants that we have in the zoo. They're humongous. So you see those trees? That's how big they are. So elephants are the largest and heaviest living land animals in the world. They're also one of the most intelligent. Elephants are a huge part of our popular culture and often show up in books, television, and art. They're also associated with wisdom and patience and are famed for their size. One of the most famous elephants was an African elephant who was kept in an English zoo and then an American zoo in the 19th century. Its name was Jumbo, which is now used to mean huge. At one time, there were dozens of different elephant-like species that lived over most of the world. They lived in deserts, in temperate grasslands, in tropical rainforests, and on snow-covered lands. Nowadays, there are far fewer kinds of elephants left in the wild. All of them are endangered and threatened. So if you know what endangered means, put it in the comments. Really talking about the kids, but adults, if you know what it is, and go ahead and share this live. So here's a picture of a male Asian elephant, which you'll see is much smaller in Sri Lanka. So you can see he's just a little bit taller than the grass, but he has tusks. These are tusks, ivory tusks. And that's why they're killed a lot for their tusks, but they'll probably talk about it in the book. So Asian elephants are much smaller in size than their African cousins. They have smaller ears and tusks, weigh between 6,000 and 12,000 pounds. That's not little. I weigh 150. They weigh between 6,000 and 12,000 pounds, and they're smaller than the African elephant. Could you imagine how big they are? And they stand 6 to 10 feet high at the shoulder. 6 to 10 feet high. And I have, hey, Hey, my Roslyn, how are you? Thank you. 150, Michelle. I'm way 150, Michelle. And so, hi, how are you? Thank you guys for joining. Share those lives. That's, oh, blow her all the kisses. All right. So, um, I'm getting choked up. All my friends are popping up. Still, they are the largest living land animals in Asia. Asian elephants have two prominent bumps on their foreheads and ears that are straight at the bottom. So they have these bumps at the top. So if you're ever out in the woods and you see an elephant, if it has these two bumps, it's the smaller of the two. But I don't think you'll see them in the woods and, United States. Hopefully not. Back to my book. So they have prominent bumps on their foreheads and their ears are straight at the bottom. So their ears come down like a triangle at the bottom. Asian elephants also have dome-shaped backs, and their skin is not as wrinkled as the African elephant. So I love these books. They're longer, but I love them. So did I skip a page? I skipped a page. Let me go back. It is. Hi, Lisa. This is wonderful. You can save it and, show it later. Ready over here. You ready, Sabrina? It's Asian. Yes, Riley. So let me go back a page. I got excited. So this is an African forest elephant. I was wondering why they jumped. I don't read these books in advance because I don't want kids to ever think that reading gets easier as an adult. You have to keep reading. So I don't read these in advance. This is the African forest elephant from Central African Republic. Remember we talked about the ears? You see how flat their head is on the top, how wrinkled they are, how larger their tusks are, and how tall they are above the trees. The other ones weren't above the trees. Now, until 2010, only 2 living species of elephants were scientifically recognized, but genetic testing has shown that there are at least 3 different living species of elephants. So there's the African bush elephant, the African forest elephant. Hi, Miss Janie, how are you? One of the best principles ever. The African bush elephant. So there's the African bush elephant, the African forest elephant, and the Asian elephant. So there's 3. The African bush elephant lives in Central and Southern Africa. The African forest elephant lives in the Congo Basin and West Africa. The Asian elephant lives, can you guess? Lives in South and Southeast Asia. Now, the African elephants are the largest land animals on Earth. They can reach a height of 13 feet. Remember? The other one was 13 feet. 13 feet. And can weigh up to 15,000 pounds. That's like a bunch of cars. That's heavier than the biggest pickup truck. Let me see. I have a request. Belinda, can you please read The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Maxey next week, please? I will look, Lisa. I have to have permission if it's by HarperCollins. And no, as a matter of fact, Regina gave me that book, I believe. I'll look and see who it's published by and try to contact them to see if I can read it. Sometimes it gets done on time. That's heavier than the biggest pickup truck. They have large ears that are fan-shaped like this. And they have but the forest elephants are much rounder. Most African elephants, both female and male, have tusks. The bush elephant's tusks are large and curved. So you see them there. See, they're curved. While the forest elephant, this is the forest, are straight and pointed downward. So African elephants have 2 finger-like lips at the end of their trunk. Shut your mouth. And there it is. Not your mouth, but my mouth. You're welcome. Can you read 1 fish, 2 fish, 3 fish? Actually, Riley, that Dr. Seuss books are really hard to read they're really hard to get to read online. I can check, but I've checked already. Dr. Seuss is one of those books that you don't get to always read online with permission. So they have the finger-like lips at the end of their trunks. that they use to manipulate small objects. So they can pick up really small objects. Harper One Collins is the publisher. Where you got it? For which book, Lisa? Sorry about but I try to tell everybody, try to answer everybody's questions. The bush elephants are less hairy, and the forest elephants and the foreheads are more rounded. So this one, the bush elephant, that's here. And this is the forest elephant. And if you look, let me get the lighting. He's got a little hair right on top of his head. Let me see if I can get it with the light. You see his little hair on top of his head? Isn't cute? Kind of looks like my hair when it's not done. All righty. So we were talking about the Asian elephants, and we said how they weigh between 6,000 and 12,000 pounds. And we talked about how they're still the largest animals. They live in Asia. Their ears are straight at the bottom. They have the two bumps on their head, and they have the dome-shaped backs. And most elephants are active during dawn and evening hours, so early in the morning, late in the evening. Although this varies by climate, it depends. Modern day elephants are the only living members of a large group of animals called, well, here's one big old word, Proboscidea, which are large tusked mammals with a flexible trunk. And kids, if you're listening, you're a mammal too. So, drawing of a mastodon. So, remember we talked about elephants before that lived in the snow? So, ancient elephants used to number over 40 different species. The two best known species are the mammoths and the mastodons, which became extinct at the end of the last ice age. Got it. I'll definitely put it up there. During the ice age, woolly mammoths and mastodons roamed the grassy tundra of the polar regions of the northern hemisphere. Early humans lived alongside them and sometimes hunted them for food. The African elephant is a bit larger than either mastodons or mammoths, so the African elephant was even bigger than the ancient elephants. That's crazy. That's insane to me. For comparison, the modern day African American stands about 10 to 12 feet high and weighs 4 to 6 tons. Mastodons were about 8 to 10 feet tall and weighed 4 to 5 tons. Mammoths were about 9 to 11 feet high and weighed 4 to 6 tons. Mastodons were forest browsers. They ate leaves and twigs as well as grass. And we're talking about this one up here. Woolly mammoths had gigantic curling tusks and winter coats of thick hair that reached to the ground. Their tusks were very long, most around 9 feet, but some as many as 15 feet. That's just a tusk. The tusks were used for fighting and to dig up plants in the dirt and under the snow. Their ears were smaller and closer to their heads. Oh, wait until I'll show you this picture. To keep them warm in the cold climate. Woolly mammoths are well studied because of the discoveries of their frozen bodies in Siberia and Alaska. They are also pictured in prehistoric paintings on cave walls. One recent finding was of a body of a young woolly mammoth found entombed in Siberian ice near the shores of the Arctic Ocean. Much of its body was still intact and showed marks left from human tools that were used to cut it for food. Now I'm going to show you up close. I'm so glad elephants have big ears now. Wow is correct, sis. Wow is correct. An elephant with little ears. Who would have thought? An elephant is covered by a thick hide that is leather. Let me make sure I didn't skip a page. That is leathery and wrinkled. So that's a good picture of an elephant up close. Like most mammals, an elephant also has hair. Its hair is short and stiff and more easily felt than seen. So you'll feel it before you see it. Even though the hide is an inch thick, you would think that it has good insulation. The elephant is still sensitive to high temperatures when out in the sun. Me too, elephant. Me too. And Wally said, wow. Keith and Lede says, I can't wait until tomorrow. I'm going to talk about that. If you follow Keith and Lede, he's a food critic here in Southeast Texas, and he's going to be at my house tomorrow night cooking and judging my food, and then he will air it maybe Thursday or Friday. So stay tuned for that collaboration. So when they're out in the sun, heat is produced inside the huge mass of an elephant's body and given off only at the smaller surface of the skin. How miserable. How miserable is that? Awesome. Wow. Sure is. Another reason elephants get hot in the sun is that they have very few sweat glands, which help them to cool down. This is because if they did sweat more, they would need to drink too much water to replace all the water that they lost. That makes sense because it's a huge animal. So when they lose, thank you, Ms. Jackson, because when they lose water, they have to drink so much to replenish it. So the body itself doesn't allow it to sweat as much. It's pretty neat. This is because if they did sweat more, they would need to drink too much water to replace all the water that they lost. The few sweat glands that they have are located on their feet between their toes. Thank goodness elephants don't have to wear shoes. That would be some stinky feet. Now, in hot water, the elephant does not stand in the sunlight for extended periods of time. If possible, the elephant moves into the shades of trees or goes into a nearby river or any nearby body of water, including the ocean. Water is important to an elephant. An adult elephant needs to drink many gallons of water every day. And here I am just drinking my 8-ounce glasses. Wow. An adult elephant, many gallons of water. Jeez. Bathing in water also helps keep a bearable body temperature, even in hot summers. If the water it is standing in is not deep enough to cover its whole body, an elephant uses its trunk, as you see here, to spray water over itself. Elephants become very playful in water, splashing themselves and others in the herd. They stamp around in the water, churning up mud, and have a lot of fun. When they are away from water, elephants will spray dust or dirt over their bodies to help protect against the sun. So these are elephants bathing in Thailand. Right here. An elephant has large feet and thick legs that look like tree trunks. You might think that elephants shake the ground and make a sound like rolling thunder when they walk, but a walking elephant barely makes a sound. An elephant's foot has a tough and fatty pad of connective tissue underneath. This acts like a spongy shock absorber and spreads out each time an elephant puts his foot down. So most elephants have 5 toes. Most elephants have 5 toes, but usually 4 toenails on each rounded foot. So they have 5 toes, but only 1, 2, 3, 4 toenails. Elephants walk on the tips of their toes, somewhat like ballet dancers in pointed shoes. Yo, Mama, I am learning so much about elephants. I did not know this. That's because an elephant's foot spreads out the pressure while pointy heels concentrate the pressure of a person's weight. If you measure the circumference, meaning the roundness of an elephant's footprint and multiply it by 2, you would be able to tell the elephant's approximate height. So you take the circle of an elephant's foot, multiply it times 2, and that'll give you the height of the elephant. Raleigh's laughing. So if I measured the circumference and it was 4, how tall would that elephant be? And look at me asking a math question. I know the answer to that one though. So, for example, if the circumference of an elephant's footprint is 48 inches, the elephant would be approximately 96 inches because we multiply 48 times 2. So that elephant would be about 8 feet in height when you convert the inches. The sole of an elephant's foot is padded and thick because an elephant is constantly walking as it eats. The sole and the toenails wear down. Instead of wearing down smoothly, the soles of elephants' feet remain rigid and cracked. They grip the ground like the ridges on the soles of hiking boots. This helps elephants stay sure-footed on hills and bumpy terrain. Look how precious. Elephants are also easily recognized by most people because of their unmistakable trunks. Scientists call it proboscis, meaning nose, but the long, flexible trunk is really the elephant's nose and upper. Here I go again with facts. The trunk is the top lip of the elephant. Another mind blown. Jeez Louise. Imagine how you would feel if your nose ran down your face like an arm and you could use it to sniff out food. Now, that wouldn't be bad. I could smell my food way ahead of time. But you could also sniff out your food, grab it, and then if you like the smell, pop it in your mouth. Imagine if you can lift a friend up with your nose, or use your nose to splash water over your body. That is not good for a human. Or water all over your body or all over your family. An elephant can do all that and more with his trunk. An elephant's trunk is muscular, thick, and well protected on the outside and sensitive and delicate on the inside. It has no bones at all, and it is only made of muscle. It is flexible. It can move up and down, side to side. It can even extend in length. The tip of the trunk has one or two lobes that are used like fingers to pick up small objects. I'm kind of jealous of an elephant right now. The Asian elephants have one on the top, while the African elephants have one on the top and one on the bottom. When an elephant feeds, it uses its trunk like an arm and a hand and brings its food to its mouth. The elephant doesn't drink through its trunk. I knew that. But it does use its trunk to help it drink. It sucks up water using the trunk like a straw and then squirts it into his mouth. So it goes in their nose and then they squirt it in their mouth. I'm so glad to see you, Saquana. Thank you for speaking that into me, telling me to come back. I'm not going to miss another Tuesday. Yes, knowledge. I'm learning so much. Yes, love it. I know, right? I don't know if it's okay to call your name, friend, because you're under your page. All right, let me keep going because this is interesting. Now, the trunk is also used to smell and identify odors from nearby or far away. Yes, so Riley says, I didn't know that. I love you too, Saquana. She said, it is. Yes, it is a lot of knowledge. It is. Yes. Oh, I'll use your name. So the trunk is also used to smell and identify odors from nearby or far away. The trunk can be used like a hand, tenderly to express affection, and it can be used in anger to fight with other elephants. It can even be used delicately to wipe dust out of another elephant's eye. Why is that so sweet? One of the most fascinating organs in the animal kingdom, an elephant's trunk can do many amazing things. Yes, they are very majestic, very majestic. Now, this is the African forest elephant and a calf. I'm not even going to try to say this word up here, but it's in Tanzania. An elephant tusk are its incisor teeth. So they're like teeth. Like the pointy teeth. Well, I got those. You see these little canine teeth? If they were longer, they'd be tusk. That's what an elephant has. And the way elephants use their tusk-like teeth to dig in the ground for water and food, I'm not using my canines for that. But they also use them to lift things and for defense. The incisors present at an elephant's birth grow into milk tusks and then fall out after a year when they are about 2 inches long. So the little tusk here, they're going to fall out. They're going to fall out. Oh my goodness. Just like us. Now, while human teeth are made of dentine, tusks are made of, I did not know my teeth was made of dentine. Dentine? I didn't know that. Michelle said, this is very educational. I never thought I would be interested in elephants. Me either. Thank you, Dr. George. I will go back and listen to this again. You got me hooked. Yeah, because I'm going to give you a test next time I see you. You too, Latoya. While human teeth and Sequana and Riley, everybody on here, give you a quiz. Other animals that have ivory tusks are walruses and sperm whales, but the ivory of an elephant's tusk is much more valuable. So, what we are learning is that, they're about to talk about it. Unfortunately, elephants are often hunted and killed by poachers just for their tusks, which are prized as art objects. Poaching is the illegal hunting of wild animals. So she tagged her daughter Star. My nephews will love this information. Yes. And she put laughing out loud. And Latoya said yes. And Saquana said, oh yeah, bad news is coming. So in humans and in most other animals, teeth come in at both the top and bottom of the mouth. Humans are born toothless, and we grow a set of baby teeth called milk teeth. Why didn't anybody tell me baby teeth are called milk teeth? And that's probably why they fall out, because well, geez Louise. And finally lose them as they grow adult teeth. Elephants are born without tusks. They grow baby milk tusks and replace them with adult tusks. Like you, elephants use molar teeth to grind down their food. In elephants, molar teeth develop in the back of their mouths and push forward as they are used. Let me read that again. In elephants, molar teeth develop in the back of their mouths and push forward as they are used. An elephant has 6 sets of molars that develop during its lifetime. As each set wears down through constant grinding of food each day, another set pushes forward to take its place toward it's like a rotating belt. So they get teeth and then they push to the front when they need new teeth. It would sure save me a lot of money with my dentist bill. Now, losing the last set of molars makes it difficult for an older elephant to chew down and digest enough food, and often signals the beginning of its end of life. Oh, that's so sad. Tag the teachers. Teachers challenge your students to watch with you and quiz them as a gift and give them a gift as incentive. Thank you, Saquana. So when they lose their teeth, that's it. They can't eat anymore. Older elephants prefer softer plant foods found in marshes and swamps, so they often go there to live out their last years. So they can't eat in the environment they're in because they don't have teeth. So they leave the herd to find softer plant foods and marshes and swamps, and they go there to die. Oh, I don't want to cry. In the wild, elephants eat almost any kinds of plants, including grass, leaves. I'm like choked up. In the wild, elephants eat almost any kind of plants, including grass, leaves, twigs, shrubs, fruits, bamboo stalks, and bananas. Their main food is grass, along with leaves from trees and bushes. This diet is not a problem in the rainy season when grass and leaves are plentiful. But during a drought, it becomes harder to find food. That's when elephants have to find and eat any plant food they can, knocking down trees to eat high foliage, and using their tusks to uproot bushes and small trees. They use their tusks to dig in the earth for water as well. Elephants eat a massive amount. An African elephant eats as much as 660 pounds a day. That's 6 of me. An elephant can eat 6 of me before it gets 6 of me before they get full. The smaller Asian elephant eats less, about 330 pounds a day. That's like a little bit more than 2 of me. Whew. Contrast that to a human adult who eats about 4 pounds of food a day. In nature, elephants spend most of their lives either looking for food or eating it. Elephants also need to drink huge amounts of water. Do you remember why? If you remember why, I put it in the comments. An African elephant drinks as much as 50 to 60 gallons of water. An African, 6 a day. 50 to 60 gallons of water in a single day. That's about as much as a bathtub full of water. Jeez. Because elephants need to drink so often and so much, they can never live far away from water. That's why, even though they may live in different places, from thick jungles to open grasslands, they always have to be near a river, a lake, or just a water hole. So here's another picture. Elephants from behind. I guess we're going to talk about the tail. So female elephants are called cows, and their young are called calves. They live in herds of about 10 or so individuals. The leader of the herd is called the matriarch and is usually the oldest and most experienced in the group. The matriarch leads the group to find food and water, knows how to avoid lions and other natural predators, and remembers locations for shelter. Within the herd, elephants are close-knit and cooperate with each other in many ways. Yes, and hi, Aunt Priscilla. She said it's a great idea for teachers to use Tuck-In Tuesdays as an incentive to get kiddos to read. Had to get that out. And Lisa Nolan, if you're still on, if you'll be my guest next Tuesday, I greatly appreciate it. Or Regina, we'll see. The females in the herd help each other care for their calves, look for food, and fight common enemies such as lions. This group may include sisters of the matriarch and their calves. If the herd gets too large, smaller groups may splinter off and form their own groups. So if it's too many, they just leave. They don't fight. They just leave. But groups often stay in touch with each other, even though they drift miles away from one another. They do this by stamping their feet or making low frequency sounds. The sounds are so low that people would not even be able to hear them. Male elephants are called bulls. They leave the herd when they become adolescents at about age 12. So boys and girls, at the age of 12, if you were a bull, a male elephant, just think about your parents saying, get out. That's when they become men at 12, an elephant. Either they will live on their own or form temporary bachelor herds where all the single elephants are together until they become more mature at the age of 15 or 16. You mean to tell me a male elephant matures at 15 or 16? Well, I guess if you get kicked out at 12, you got to grow up fast. Adult bulls sometimes live alone, but will visit a herd of females for a short time to breed. Hey, my friend, that's Floyd. Floyd, you got to go back and listen. There's a lot of information you got to get. Now, adult bulls, sometimes we say live alone, they will visit a herd of females. They'll go in short time to breed. Now, bulls do not care for their calves at all and may live by themselves for much of their lives. I know. So the bull mates with the cow, the female elephant, and never takes care of it. It says they do not care for their calves at all and live by themselves for much of their lives. At all. After mating with a male, a female elephant will carry her unborn calf for 22 months. Ladies that have been blessed to have a child, I see you all walking around here at 9 months and you're just done. Try 22 months. A pregnancy, a gestation that is longer than any other land animal. 22 months. When born, an elephant calf may be 3 feet tall. The baby is 3 feet tall and weighs over 200 pounds. Interesting. And it appears we may have borrowed bull and cow from whoever named the elephants. I'm just saying. Now, a newborn calf is usually very hairy and has a short trunk and a long tail. So there we have a mommy. Can you tell what kind of elephant that is? Put it in the comments if you know what kind of that elephant is. Yes, geez, wow. And yeah, it's a lot. So the newborn calf is usually very hairy and has a short trunk and a long tail. It uses its mouth to nurse from its mother, so it doesn't need a long trunk to feed. Babies are usually blind at birth. They stick close to their mothers and nurse frequently. On average, a calf gains 2 to 3 pounds a day during its first year, a day. The other females help the mother to care for the baby, and the entire herd looks after the calf if it is ever in danger. Even though baby calves are fed and protected, they still have a lot to learn. They stumble around at first, just like real babies, practicing making all four legs work together. By the age of 2 or 3, they are learning how to behave when an enemy, such as a lion, threatens the group. They are taught good elephant manners. Their trunk is held out to an adult elephant and greeting, and is also used in making nice. So they know to greet adult elephants with their trunk. So baby elephants address adults. We can learn a lot from elephants, and some things we don't need to learn. Now, the calves are taught to use their trunks to wrestle with other calves, to drink water, and for playing super soakers. Elephant calves may continue nursing for several years. Yes, that is correct. It is an African forest. We can look at the ears. They don't have the domes. Absolutely right, especially the ears and the wrinkles. Now, elephant calves may continue nursing for several years until another brother or sister is born. So let's say, I don't know, if they never have a baby, I get, well, an elephant calf is dependent on its mother and its herd to feed and protect it for 3 to 5 years. Riley, you would be on your own already if you were an elephant. Not on your own, but you wouldn't be depending on your mom. Elephants usually eat 3 times during the day: the late morning, the late afternoon, and the middle of the night. Not kind of snacking. More than half of an elephant's day is taken up by strolling along, eating. African bush elephants they graze mostly on rolling grasslands, whereas smaller African forest elephants browse on the leaves and fruits of trees. Asian elephants are both grazers and browsers. They graze on grass during the rainy season and browse on different plants, twigs, and tree bark and forests when the grasses die off. Their food supply depends upon the season. Elephants don't sleep or rest for more than a few hours at a time. They sleep or rest in the early hours of the morning and in the shade of the trees during the heat of the day. Elephants don't have to lie down on the ground when they rest. The straight, strong bones in their legs easily support them while they snooze. So they sleep standing up. Younger elephant calves amble along with the herd and spend much of their time playing together. Humans play the same games, pushing and tripping each other, climbing over one another, running around wildly after each other. Elephant calves are in danger from natural enemies, such as lions and other big cats and packs of hyenas or wild dogs. When an adult spots danger, it trumpets an alarm. So it makes a noise. The herd forms a protective ring with the calves inside. So they take all of the babies, put them inside. Unfortunately, this method doesn't always work against poachers. That's sad. Very, very sad. So here we have an elephant and his keeper in a rice field right here. Now, elephants and people have been relating for thousands of years. In the past, elephants were used as carriers of troops and attacked animals in war. More than 2,000 years ago, the famous Carthaginian general Hannibal marched 38 war elephants across the Italian Alps to attack the powerful Roman Empire. Hannibal's army nearly won the battle, but only one elephant survived. He had 38, only one lived. So in Asian countries such as India, Myanmar, and Thailand, don't chop me up about these words, elephants are trained to work. They are not used as pack animals to carry supplies because their backs can't carry more than their weight would suggest. Instead, they're used to rip up trees and push objects around. So they work. They work like we work. So they rip up trees out of the ground and they push objects around. It's kind of like a bulldozer does here. So in some logging and construction camps in Myanmar and Thailand, elephants are taught by their human trainers to use their trunks to lift and push logs and other heavy objects. The bulls learn how to slide their under a log and lifted. Elephants are used in steep and difficult surroundings where trucks and other machinery would slip and slide. But unlike horses and other working animals, elephants are rarely bred for work. Each working elephant is captured in nature, so they take them from where they live and they subdue them, they put them to sleep, and then they train them. Some of these working elephants are well cared for by their keepers, getting days off and plenty of food, but that's not always the case. So we're almost done, guys. When elephants are tamed to live or work with humans, it is called domesticating them. Elephants in circuses are tamed to be able to parade and carry people, as well as stand on their hind legs and perform in front of audiences. Each domesticated elephant will have its own temperament and personality, and many elephants will not tolerate being treated badly. They will even, now this, listen to this, they will even plan an attack on a cruel or neglectful human keeper. They'll sit and wait. There are many stories of bad keepers being attacked because they weren't giving the elephants proper food and care. Zoos also keep elephants in many countries around the world. Some of the best zoos put a lot of effort into providing good food and considerable care. This includes paying attention to the social needs of elephants too, making sure to bond with other elephants and live in a herd. But caring for elephants in captivity is difficult. In the natural world, elephants spend their days roaming over areas of hundreds of square miles, eating as they move and interacting with other herds and individuals. In zoos, they're confined to smaller spaces and encounter fewer playmates. Now, conservation biologists, rangers, and game wardens are recognized for their dedication and service to wildlife, but it is also modern zoological institutions such as the Bronx Zoo that not only foot the bill in many circumstances, but also work diligently behind the scenes to preserve wild animals. She said, stay in a safari truck. Noted. Yes, Michelle, stay in a safari truck. A huge elephant and animal reserve in Africa, the Serengeti, I think I'm saying that right, National Park, would not be there today were it not for Bernhard Grismick, the former director of Germany's Frankfurt Zoo. Large tracts of African wilderness are also being set aside for wild animals because of the dedicated work of the Wildlife Conservation Society. So this is an elephant herd, this picture that you see, with Mount Kilimanjaro in the background. So this is at a national park. Now I'm going to do something special. If y'all give me 1 second, I need to take a breath from reading, but I'm going to put something up and share it on the screen because some people will assume that everybody has seen an elephant in a zoo. Just a second. Sometimes zoos will leave their cameras rolling, and let me see if I can pull up a live virtual zoo. Okay, so let me see if the elephant cam is working. And as it's coming up, I'll keep that up, but I'll keep going. So circuses have less space than most zoos, and in even the biggest circuses, elephants are confined to small areas. And because of their weight, as well as the acts that they're trained to perform in, such as balancing, let's see, I think I have it up. I'm going to share the screen. So you guys that are still on will get to see something pretty cool. Let's see, share my screen and share. So there's a baby elephant. You'll see him. He's behind the podium, but this is live footage of an elephant. So I'll be a little small. There he is pushing a ball. So I'll let you watch him and see if you can tell what kind of elephant it is. So that's an elephant in its habitat. Well, at a zoo habitat. So now I want to watch the elephant. So let me keep going. So because of their weight, as well as the acts that they're trained to perform in, such as balancing on their hind legs, elephants are at risk for developing painful foot and joint problems. In recent years, several countries have banned the use of elephants in circuses. A few countries, such as India, have also banned keeping elephants in zoos. In Finland, all the zoos have voluntarily given up keeping elephants because they know that the zoos can't meet animals' needs. Many people agree and feel it is wrong to keep elephants in captivity for any reason. Many of the larger circuses in the US no longer use elephants or have shut down because they are no longer using elephants in their acts. The photo shows an Asian elephant. So there we have an Asian elephant painting on a canvas before the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus show on Sunday, May 1st, 2016, in Providence, Rhode Island, where the elephants performed for the final time. The elephants and other wild animals in the closed down circus will live at the Ringling Brothers 200-acre center for elephant conservation in Florida. And there you can see the elephant I was telling you about. Pretty neat. Look at that little baby. I'm just like, it's all by himself. So there's an elephant statue that we have here. Humans have always portrayed elephants as big, strong, and intelligent. Many societies show pictures of elephants in their art. Elephants, too, appear in countless stories and legends, from the earliest cave paintings in France, India, and Indonesia, dating back 40,000 years, to modern photos, paintings, and designs from around the world. Sculptures of elephants are very popular, too. Both African and Asian elephants are common symbols in religion and folklore. The texts and teachings of religions, including Islam, Buddhism, and Hinduism, contain stories referring to elephants. The Quran tells how a war elephant called Mahmud refused to enter Mecca and prevented it from being conquered. That was the year the Prophet Muhammad was born, and it became known as the Year of the Elephant. If you've ever been to a Chinese restaurant, you'll see the Year of the Elephant, the Year of the Rat. In Buddhism, an elephant is a symbol of mental strength and responsibility. Among Hindus, Ganesh is an elephant-headed god that is known as the remover of obstacles and is revered for his wisdom. In each religion, the faithful believe that elephants and people share a special bond and are to be treated with respect and care. And that's the elephant statue that I was telling you about. And then this is an elephant and a monk in Thailand. All the little elephant drifted over by the pond. I'll see if I can pull another zoo one up. Let's see. I'll see. Elephants are among the most intelligent animals on our planet. Their brains contain even more neurons than a human brain. An adult elephant brain weighs more than 10 pounds, much more than any other land animal. The brains also have many complex folds that are thought to be an important contributor to their high intelligence. Elephants demonstrate self-awareness and often show emotions such as grief. So they get sad. Let me put myself back up here. So they get sad. Here we go. So they can show grief, compassion, and helplessness. They have excellent learning abilities and quickly understand how to use tools. There are many reports of elephants helping animals of other species, such as rescuing trapped dogs, even at considerable cost to their own safety. Younger elephants help other older elephants in need. Elephants would be the most dominant land animal on earth if it were not for people. Humans are the only real animals of elephants in the wild. Even in protected nature reserves, poachers and other hunters kill elephants to sell the ivory from their tusks. Preserving elephants and other wild animals isn't an easy task by any means. Land is running short because people continue to build farms and housing on the wild, places where elephants live. While some groups are buying land for wild animals, it is a challenge to balance the needs of people and wild elephants. That's humans. Humans. So my little buddy is back. Let me put him back on the screen. Let's see if I can get him back up there. Oop. Let me see if I can. Okay, there he is. There he is. He's back. Oh, there's a big one. There we go. So at the beginning of the 21st century, there were more than 1 million African elephants and about 40,000 Asian elephants. In fewer than 2 decades, there is less than half that population left in the world. Today, there are estimates of about 500,000 African elephants and about 35,000 wild Asian elephants. Animal rights groups estimate that poachers in Africa kill between 35,000 and 40,000 elephants a year. A year. That means about 100 elephants are killed by poachers every day. Thanks to the efforts of conservation groups around the world, pressure is put on governments of those countries that have wild elephants to protect them in nature preserves. Will elephants in the wild be saved in the future? It will only happen if enough people want it to happen. So in the back is a glossary. So we made it to the end of the book, and geez, am I choked up? I didn't realize that. I mean, I knew how smart they were, but at the rate that they die. So I always do my big takeaway. The biggest takeaway is how the bulls, the male elephants, never take care of their kids. Never take care of their. It is so cruel. It's so cruel. Very, very cruel. So I didn't know that bulls, when they have babies, you see that little baby on the screen? They absolutely, I'll take that little baby on the screen. They actually leave that baby. The mom takes care of that baby, and the dad never, ever, never will take care of the baby. And the mother's protected. We talked about protecting the elephants. Well, I always tell, my dissertation was actually on virtual education. So always bringing things to the kids. So I'm bringing the elephant to you. So you don't have to. You can watch this live stream as long as you want to. I'll put the link to it in the comments so that if you want to continue watching it to see them in the morning, you can do so. So I'll drop that right there in the comments so that you can watch it. And that's the National Zoo. My biggest takeaway also is how smart they are. There's a lot of sadness in the book, but how intelligent they are. Lisa Nolan has picked my book for next week, so I'll go ahead and post it. If you ever want to be my guest on Tucked In Tuesday, I have a book that I may have, or you want to be a guest, you can always come in here, pick a book, and I can invite you to attend virtually or in person. Guys, remember that even if you aren't the same as someone or something, you can still take care of it, just like the elephants did. I didn't hear one mean thing they did except planning attacks for people that were mean to them. So I have a newfound love for elephants, and I hope you do too. I'll see you next Tuesday, this time at 7:30 p.m. Remember, if nobody else tells you, Dr. George loves you. Thank you for joining. And remember, I will be cooking with Keith and Lede tomorrow. So we have a turkey necks, turkey wings, red beans and rice, macaroni, cheese, mustard greens, collard greens, tea cakes, cornbread. And he's going to tell me how well I cook or don't. Also, Floyd Hope, if you follow him, please look at his podcast. He has some interesting people. And Sean Locke, my friend, she also has a new podcast. And her next guest is Reverend Adolph. So if you're looking for something to do online or you're staying in, 7:30 p.m. next Tuesday. See you guys.